Do you constantly judge yourself and ask yourself, how am I being perceived?
They with the rat pack.
Do you constantly wonder if people are judging you negatively and looking down on you?
Hit 'em with the chopper, that's the rat trap. Find 'em.
Do you constantly ask yourself, will I ever be good enough? Or will I ever be loved? If so, you are in luck, because today I'm gonna give you 3 easy steps to eradicate this fucking pattern completely from your life so you can actually go live your life fully and be who you are and find all the joy and love that you could ever look for and want in life. Sound good? Cool. Well, the first step is you gotta observe it and break the pattern. And you break the pattern by just even noticing it, and bonus points, you can make yourself laugh. So today, my good friend, we're traveling Mexico City. He comes out and he's having an existential crisis. And it came to this feeling of, will I ever be loved? Will I be enough? And it's because there was one girl that might have left him on red. But the funny part was, there was another girl that was like sending him a loving morning message. But he was so fixated on the negative that he had this dread. Now, before you guys laugh, we all do this in our own way. So before you point the finger, you know what they say? You point one, you point back at yourself 2, 3. Very good point. So if you do that, then, you'll judge others less, and then you'll give yourself more grace. So we made him laugh by saying, hey, look, what would a brown guy, because he's brown too, in India, he's not Indian, what would a brown guy say if he looked at your life and saw that a fucking multimillionaire was depressed and existential because some girl left him on red while he's traveling around the world? What would that guy say to you? And he's like, I don't know. And immediately he went from existential, just light and laughing and having fun. And he just completely flipped just in a moment like that. That's it. That's all it takes. Catch yourself, break the pattern, make yourself laugh. That's step 1. Sounds super easy, sounds fucking obvious, but following through on it is super hard if you don't have someone to point it out. So you got to be the one catching yourself. Take ownership of your life. Okay? Step 2, stop measuring significance. Stop measuring love. And on top of that, I had to learn recently to stop measuring freedom. Not all things that are measured in life is actually good. Because when you measure these things, you notice very sensitively when you are in lack or if it goes down, even just marginally. You are presupposing that you don't have it. And that's a very dangerous thing to do, especially in a domain of relationships and friendships. Did you ever have a friend where this guy was micromanaging the amount of value he was receiving and giving, or she? How did that make you feel? Or how would that feel if you never had somebody like that? Or maybe you are that person, and how did other people feel around you? Did they ever say anything? Or did they just kind of slowly disappear? That's what happens when you micromanage and measure significance, love, and freedom. When you're constantly asking how people are perceiving you, what are you asking? What need are you trying to fulfill? Significance. You want to be accepted. You want to be loved. You want to be held in high esteem. But if you're constantly questioning that, questions create doubt. And so then you're always going to be questioning and wondering whether you're getting it or not. And in step 3, I'll tell you how you can just completely avoid that pain altogether. But step 2 is you got to stop measuring it and shift your values. What is the value that you want to have? What is the value that you want to experience and feel? What kind of person do you want to be known for? If you were measuring significance at the top, then people are going to know you as the guy that always wants to be important, the guy that's always trying to be cool, the try hard. Is that the kind of guy that you want to be known for? Or do you want to be known for being a generous guy, a cool guy, a fun guy, a loving guy, a leader? So I've been watching Matt Rife. Love him, hate him, whatever. Women love going to his shows, obviously because, one, he's a good-looking guy. That's the hook. However, if he wasn't funny, if he wasn't charismatic, if he wasn't charming, if he wasn't who he is as a person, not as many people would go. He would just be a one-dimensional guy that would get old pretty quickly. But what makes him charismatic is he roasts everybody, even on sensitive subjects, in such a way where it's funny. And he does it equally across the board. It doesn't matter if you're a handicapped guy. It doesn't matter if you're a white woman. It doesn't matter if you're a black dude. It doesn't matter. He roasts everyone equally, and he also can make fun of himself as well. And on top of that, he's also a very kind, generous person as well. There have been times where he's just always reassuring people, complimenting them, calling them beautiful, and just treating them like a real friend, even though he's like a celebrity. And then he'll give maybe some gifts, some swag, some merch, allow people to come to his show in the front or backstage. And so he gives you the whole gamut of what a good friendship can consist of. And so if you list all these traits, he's funny, he's witty, he's charismatic, he's kind, he's good at roasting people, and he's generous. Are these not all good qualities to embody in your own way? Now, you might have some other qualities, and that's cool. Add them to your list. Figure out what are the ones that have to do with you being the person that you want to be in a way that's also contributing towards others. So that's step 3. Step 3 is to get the significance and status that you want. First, you got to stop looking for it, and then be the kind of person that other people want to be around. So it ties in with step 2. So we were just eating at a restaurant, me and my buddy, existential homie. We call him Jobber as a joke. That's the side of him that's, existential and not actually him. That's a pattern. It's good to give that nickname because it's not who we identify with that determines who we are. We can identify with disempowered parts of us, but we can also step into and embrace and identify with the more empowered parts of us. If you guys watch the Alex Hormozi, Tony Robbins interview, Tony helped intervene Alex's pattern, which was suffering from not being fulfilled and happy and disconnected with his heart. And it served him really well because Alex, when he's in that headspace, which they labeled and gave this identity of analytical Alex, he's come up with so many amazing things, but it made him a robot and it caused him to suffer as a human. But the parts of him where he's in his heart, connected, and he didn't even know how to do it. But one of the steps that they came up with was labeling that part of him that he tapped into, which was the funny version of him, right? It was anabolic Alex. And so whenever he even got called anabolic Alex, he just went back into that state and started laughing, right? It created joy. And it was a side of him that he showed when he met Layla. It was a side of him that he brought out when he's with his friends. And it's just remembering to connect with that part of us. So we have always a shadow self and more of an empowered self. And that's okay. That's what makes us human. But what allows us to be more conscious and enlightened is we're able to tap into the parts of ourselves that we want to. This part of us might be good when we're in times of strife, conflict, and war, but this part of us is the part that we want to live more fully in life, especially with people, right? So if you are a giving person, a generous person, a person who contributes, you're going to get the status that you've always looked for. But the key is to not let that be the thing that drives your life. You want to be led by the need for status, because that insecurity will just cause you to be so uncertain and uncomfortable all the fucking time. You're living a life of hell on earth. That could drive people to reach amazing heights. You leverage that lower self part of you if that gets your ass off the ground to take action. But don't let that be the thing that leads your life completely. Have a stronger pull. And in that interview, they called that the moonshot, right? The moonshot thing that just gets them so excited. So the story I was going to tell is while we were eating today, right? There was a woman who saw us taking a quick selfie, just to kind of remember the moment. And she actually had one leg. So in her crutches, she kind of put it aside and asked us considerately, hey, do you mind if I take a photo of you guys? And I said, you know what? Why not? It wasn't a special moment, but she was offering, and not a lot of people offer even when they aren't handicapped. So I was like, sure, why not? So, she took a few photos. They came out meh, to be honest, but she's like, let me know if you need another one. And I joked out of nowhere. I was like, I'm going to ask after you sit down. And she's like, oh, right? Poking fun at the fact that it'd be even more inconvenient for her when she has crutches to sit down and then come back, stand back up to take another photo. I was obviously joking. And it reminded me of that moment. I was like, oh, that was a little Matt Rife-esque, where I could poke fun, not in a demeaning or condescending way, but just normalizing, this thing that we can all laugh about because we're all human, right? And he was just like kind of poking fun in a way that's showing love and appreciation. And I thanked her again. I'm like, oh, by the way, I appreciate the photos came out great. It's just funny because I didn't check until after. So remembering Matt Rife also made me remember, hey, he's like a cool guy that's also generous with people and shows appreciation. And so, you know what, like I was having breakthroughs with my boy and we were having just like a fun time. And so when I went and paid for our meal, I was like, hey, do you mind adding that person's tab on ours? And it was the person who took photo for us. And this wasn't out of pity, but more just, I just felt like being generous today. After I paid for that, the people working at the cafe were like, what are your names? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So we exchanged names, we laughed, we cracked some jokes, and then and we went about our way. And it was a funny microcosm of what my friend and I were talking about today, which was you get the significance that you crave and desire when you lead with love and connection and contribution first. If you're a person that is more driven by just giving to the world, growing in meaningful ways, and being able to contribute because you care from a place of authentic care and love, not because you're trying to measure or get something back, you'll get it back in spades. And in this way, it was just kind of a little way. It was more like these guys, they went out of their way because I'm sure they were surprised that somebody paid for someone else's bill when they didn't even know them. And they were like, oh, these guys are cool. We want to get to know them. And who knows? I'm not saying I'm expecting this, but now that I'm thinking about it, this is the kind of stuff that I remember in the past where, you build rapport with some people who work at a bar or a cafe or a club and they like hook it up because it doesn't cost them anything and they want to like show their appreciation and give value to you. Vibes are pretty powerful because, that's the kind of thing where if you share with people and they feel good around you, that's what makes all of our decisions. We do things so we can feel good, even if they suck in the moment, right? Because we want to feel better about ourselves later on. And so when you are around cool people that make you feel awesome, what's the natural instinct? If you're in a generative place, you want to be able to contribute and give back to them as well in any way that you can, whatever is within your capacity, whether it's small or large. And so if you're being that person too, that will always come back. And so if it doesn't happen the first time or the second time or the third time, you're measuring. Just trust that the universe will have your back, and with a long enough time horizon, if you are embodying the positive qualities in your life, that good shit will happen to you. You will create your own luck, and luck will be part of your destiny, as Naval Ravikant would say. So luck will be a part of your destiny because it is determined by your character. And this is how it happens. By embodying that part of us that you want to be. Give yourself a nickname. That disempowered, not disabled, maybe mentally disabled at times, existential version of you, and then the cool, generative, caring, carefree, loving person that you are also, because we're all human. We have both sides. Which side have you been choosing to live out? So to recap, first step is catch yourself, catch the pattern, make yourself laugh, break it, right? Step 2, stop measuring. Because it's not all about measuring. If you constantly just fixate on yourself, you will suffer. Power comes to you when we think beyond ourselves. How many times have we done more for others than ourselves? And if you haven't, then you better fucking start. Because that creativity and power is so amazing when you tap into it. That's why parents can sacrifice for their kids. That's why people are willing to die for their countries. That's why people can become heroes and face fear, because they have a greater purpose beyond themselves and their own comfort and their own wealth to do some amazing things in this life. Step 3, be that person that you want to be and trust that good things will happen. Be the kind, loving, generous version of you that's funny, that doesn't give a fuck how he's being perceived, because he knows that people are going to want to be around him because he's sharing his best aspects of himself, and trust that good shit's going to happen. All right. So that's how you become the most important, highest status version of yourself. It's a natural byproduct, just like success. It's like you give enough value in this world, you will get paid. Especially if you just learn how to figure out the right ways to monetize it, right? But value in it of itself is so incredible, and the amount that we can give is just unlimited, that we can't help but not get rewarded, because that's the way that the law of nature works. All right, with that, be on your way. Wish you the best. Kick ass. Make some amazing experiences, and tune in until next time. You know what it is. It's your boy, Andrew, Mexico City. Peace. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, comment, share, because Then I could do more of this stuff for you guys if you guys feel compelled. Thank you.
Fall!